Good morning, one and all. It's my pleasure to extend a cheerful welcome to you all. It's a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome our resource person, Professor Dr. C. Krishnan, who is the former faculty of our college. He is the professor and head Department of Development Studies, Central University of South Bihar. Before joining here, he served in the University of Calicut, Marthoma College Chungatra, and Government College Kodancherry in Kerala. He held the positions of a reader, associate professor, vice principal in his previous institution. He has more than 25 years of teaching experience. He completed his PhD in economics from University of Calicut and MPhil from Pondicherry University. His areas of expertise and research interest are in development economics, higher education, distance education, e-governance, rural banking, inclusion and exclusion studies. He was conferred D.Litt honorary degree by the University of South America in 2016. He has been guiding PhD scholars in Kannur University and University of Calicut since 2002. Many students have completed PhD programs under his guidance. He has completed 10 research projects funded by UGC, ICSSR, CDS, and KILE. He has authored 5 books, 15 chapters in books, and so many articles in journals. He was awarded M.M. Ghani Award in 2016, Professor Shivaprasad Memorial Award in 2017, and Best Social Scientist Award from GRAPS Educational Charitable Society, Chennai in 2019. He is a life member of Kerala Economics Association and Indian Distance Education Association. Today, his talk is on the topic Researcher's Nightmare, Problem Identification and Review of Literature. Sir, once again, I welcome you to the session.
Thank you, Binisha. Rajiv sir, okay.
It's a matter of great pleasure and honor for me to welcome our principal, Dr. Rajiv Thomas, to this session. Welcome, sir. I welcome all the participants who have gathered here to the second session of our one-week online faculty development program. Thank you.
Okay, Rajiv sir, have you any remarks? Okay, my dear friend, Dr. Rajiv Thomas, though not in the program at present, the manager of Marthoma College, Right Reverend Dr. Thomas Mar Theotos Episcopa, and also the partner organizations representatives, Professor A.K. Bakshi, Vice Chancellor, PDM University, Haryana, Professor Jashwandir Singh, Principal, Sri Guru Tej Bahadur Khalasa College, Dr. Vimal Ra, National Coordinator of FTP, and Reverend S. George Berser of Marthoma College, and dear participants, faculty members, and those who are present here, especially my close friend, Dr. Rajiv Thomas. Today, actually, I'm asked to share my experience, my wisdom in the area of review of literature in the research process. Before entering to this subject, I'm very happy to see that Marthoma College Chungatara, under the able leadership of Dr. Rajiv Thomas, has been delved into a lot of initiatives recently. The Alumni Association formation and its formal inauguration, and also the Ruby celebration activities. These are all going on very fast, and that shows the college is in the right track of the academic arena. And in the days to come, it is moving towards an autonomous status. I wish for that. And Marthoma College Chungatara is one of my close adobe, in the sense that I started my career as a lecturer in 1996 with Mr. Rajiv Thomas. So afterwards, you can see that more than 20 years have been passed after I left Marthoma College. Now, I am blessed to serve the students of Bihar, especially a poor state in the country, and that I consider is a rare privilege and pride for a person like me. And whenever the authorities of Marthoma College ask me to deliver some talk or be part of any activity, I accept it without any reservation. So, dear friends, I am very happy. So, we will now proceed to our topic of interest. I am sure that the participants are from very different backgrounds. Some of them are commerce, some of them are social sciences, and some of them may be from the humanities as well. And again, some of you are in the different stages of research. Maybe some of you are PG students who have a project work or a research dissertation. Some of the PhD scholars who are in the beginning stage. Some are in the advanced stage, etc. So in whichever stage you all are, review of literature is part of the research endeavor, whatever may be the level of research. Even if you are doing a UG project, undergraduate project, or a PG project, or a MPhil project, or even the larger space PhD project, or even the funded projects, or even if you are writing an article to a journal, you must be well versed with, clear about the methodology of writing a review. So review of literature is the basis of any research. So what I should say is that the research scholars should spend a good time to review the literature in its sincerity and commitment. Most often, sometimes the students ask, sir, how many review I should have? How many article I should read? These are some of the doubts which normally the beginners of research normally raise before the research supervisors. I have also no conclusive answer to these questions. But still I should say that the more you read, the more will be your knowledge in the study area or in the subject or the subject area which you are going to address. So as far as I am concerned, I should say that I did my PhD in the 1990s. That means around 30 years before that you start your research. You may wonder the situation of 1930s. We had no computer, we had no internet, we had not that much research supervisors. Even we don't have any research centers in the colleges. 30 years back, I am telling this story. You just think before 30 years, what would have been the story of researchers? So at that time, those who have registered for research in the universities of Kerala or anywhere else, had to physically visit the libraries to get a hold of books, journals, or conference papers, or whatever is the published materials. We have to go to the library physically and take the books from the stack, or visit the library, sit there for reading the journals and writing down by our own hand the required synopsis of an article, etc. Even there was no photostat copy at that time. Photostats machine were limited to major institutions like research institutions like Center for Development Studies in Kerala, maybe in some of the departments of universities only. Even in colleges, there were no photostat machine. So I did PhD during such a very difficult, atmosphere or time period. But I don't have any repentance because we had no shortcut to review at that time. Actually, we go to, normally I spend a lot of time in the Center for Development Studies, Trivandrum, during my research. I stayed with their hostel, their guest house. My friends were there. and going to the library early morning, 9 o'clock the library opens and it closes by around 7 p.m. Most often only for getting the tea and the lunch, we go out. Rest of the time, we were fully in the library, jotting down the points which we understand from reading the journals or books. So what was the beauty of those periods, just till I remember, that we read the article or we read the books, we read the whatever may be the monograph or occasional papers, working papers, etc. thoroughly, not as sporadic reading. Thoroughly we read and mark down the very important points, and so that whatever we read, when it is written, it will be reinforcing in the researcher. But now what happened? Now you have a library at your fingertip. Most of the researchers have laptops. Most of the researchers have smartphones, even tab, even Kindle type of equipments. So now you can access all those materials at home, at your convenience, at your pace, at your requirement. But the tragedy is that the current generation scholars don't seriously read those materials and actualize the content, the idea, the debate, the methodology adopted in the selected and referred articles and reports. This is what I would like to tell you at the very outset. Every year, I am evaluating more than 20 PhD theses from various universities of India, even mostly from Kerala-based universities, Tamil Nadu, in Punjab. So many states, they are sending theses for evaluation to me. And in these theses, what I could see, there is a chapter on research, review of literature. It is like a non-stop travel that the scholars are writing without understanding the meaning of the write-up. Why I am writing this? They know that this is part of a research report. So they go and note down or paraphrase whatever they have read, whatever they have referred in the form of a literature review, without having a introduction, without having any body structure, without having any synthesis, without having any conclusion even. So this is a sorry state of affair that I should share with you. That should be end up with. It should be ended, because there is a prime motive behind the research, especially review of literature. So the better you do the research review, the better would be your result, your analysis, and the conclusion. So what is required is that the scholars have to commit themselves in reading the literature, in reading the reports which we want to analyze and use in a very systematic manner, in a very commitment manner, and that should be presented in a meaningful way to provide the basis of their research. But unfortunately, as I told you already, even the PhD theses are missing the link between the need for a research review and its presentation. So this is the reason why I may be asked to discuss and share with you my observation and my learning in the area of literature review. Are you clear? Hello?
Sir, it is audible. Everything is okay.
Okay, okay. So you are, you are hearing my voice, right? Okay, friends.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, friends, these are some of the very basic issues that I should say before going to explain the meaning of literature review and how you can go about and all that. So, so I should emphasize again and again that literature review is a daunting task, but at the same time, it is a rewarding task as well. It's a daunting as well as rewarding task as well. And the first question which I posed before you is that the students and the scholars normally ask the research supervisors, how many research literature review I should undertake? The question is still unanswered. Because the more you read, I told you, the more you read, the more would be your basic basement. The basement could be clear and strong only when you are able to accomplish a meaningful review of literature exercise. So I should say that the research scholars should go for minimum, we cannot say a time period also, but a minimum of 6 months is necessary for bringing out and acquainted with the reviews of their respective field. So in my university, as part of the coursework, we have 3 papers. We have 3 papers. First 2 papers are in the first semester. They are basically subjects and concepts on research methodology and data analysis that the students have to appear in the first semester, the PhD scholars. Second semester, they have a paper which is known as review of literature. That means the students who have registered for PhD have to review and present before the doctoral research and development committee of the concerned department after the 6 months, that is in the second semester. But in Calicut University, there is no such paper. We have only 2 papers as we understand. It is a part of the coursework, but we have three courses or 3 papers. So the main reason why we have introduced is that the students should get minimum 6 months time to make a baseline survey of, to understand the basic details of the area covered by other researchers. So UGC has a clear motto behind developing such a framework for research. And research is very important for the growth of any society. Without research, there is no growth at all. That is the way the government is giving much emphasis. Both the state government and the central government are giving utmost priority to promote research, both the social science research and even pure science research. So my only submission to you, the younger researchers, is that you should take research very seriously and do it meaningfully and provide inputs to the policymakers to implement suitable policies for the amelioration of poverty and other related ills of the society. So remember that getting a PhD is not the ultimate aim of a research program. We have a bounden duty to help the humanity. So even the social sciences, including management and commerce, can also contribute to the development of the society in various ways. So please take it very seriously. Okay, now I will present some of the very important aspects of review of literature for your understanding. Okay, shall we go for that? Any discussion or any addition to what I have said? Do you want to elaborate anything?
If any participants have any doubts or queries, you can unmute your microphone and ask to our resource person. Or you can type your message on the chat box.
Okay, now I am sharing my PowerPoint for your review. We will start with this quotation, Booty and Bailey. A researcher cannot perform significant research without first understanding the literature in the field. This is the basis of our today's lecture in this 5-day workshop. That is, a researcher cannot perform significant research without first understanding the literature in the field. It is very clear. Now let us see what is a literature review. So many definitions, so many annotations you can see, but I will invite your attention to a few of the definitions for your understanding. A literature review is an account of what has been published on a topic by accredited scholars and researchers. So it is an account of, or it is a summary of, what has been published on a topic by accredited scholars and researchers. This is one definition. Second definition is also given by the University of North Carolina website. It is written like this: review of literature discusses published information in a particular subject area, and sometimes information in a particular subject area within a certain time period. Similarly, Wikipedia, which we normally refer for so many things, it defines literature review. It is a body of text that aims to review the critical points of current knowledge on a particular topic. So these are a few major definitions which one can see in the corresponding websites and publications. But when you take a comprehensive definition of this term, this is one of the best definitions which I feel given by Erin L. Clark in her book, Writing the Successful Thesis and Dissertation, Entering the Discussion. A literature review surveys scholarly articles, books, and other sources like dissertations, conference proceedings relevant to a topic. Its purpose is to demonstrate that the writer has insightfully and critically surveyed relevant literature on his or her topic in order to convince an intended audience that the topic is worth addressing. It's a very broad, or what I should say, a comprehensive definition about the meaning of review of literature. So simply it says that it is a review of scholarly articles, books, and other sources including dissertation, PhD thesis, conference proceedings, reports relevant to a topic of your interest. The purpose of this review is to demonstrate that the writer has, that is very important. The writer here means the research scholar, has insightfully and critically. Two words are very important. The research scholar or the researcher has insightfully and critically surveyed the relevant literature on his or her topic in order to convince a targeted audience that the topic is worth addressing. So you are convincing the audience. There is an audience for your writing. Whatever be the writing, there is an audience. Audience may be the teachers, audience may be the prospective researchers, audience may be the government policymakers, audience may be the NGOs, so and so forth. So our write-up is intended for a larger audience. And this larger audience should feel that the researcher has reviewed, at least referred some of the recent available evidences in the area of his or her interest. So that is why we call that it is a very broad definition or a comprehensive definition of what we call review of literature. Now the question is, what we will earn or what we will get by reviewing the literature. I told you in the very beginning that literature survey give you a basic foundation towards your further research. Without a comprehensive, without a committed, without a meaningful survey of literature, your research will be footed on unsound theories and principles. So, dear scholars, my request is that you have to put much effort. Even for PG dissertation, I should say that you should refer seminal works in your area of interest before going for survey, before developing the questionnaire.
Sir, pardon. Sir,
Hello?
can you make it full screen, sir?
Yes, I will. I will make. So, what are the major benefits of literature review, or what is the literature review for? I will mention one by one. One, establishes the terms and context. This is first thing. That is, how else will you define exactly what you are looking at and where its limits are? So the context of your study, the terms of your study are made clear only through a best literature review. Second one is, literature review presents a survey of preceding literature on the topic. Preceding means before your research. Whoever have conducted studies in the area of your interest. So, how else will you know what has been done already? What is the current status of the area of research which you are going to take up? Third one is, explores ways that others have solved similar questions and problems. That means it will tell us the methodology, the approach others have adopted in solving the questions which you may be interested. Fourth one is, review of literature outlines the relationship of these texts to each other. That means, how else will you know what the different perspectives and debates are and where you are coming from? You will also understand the debates in the study area, the debates and theories which are existing in the area of your interest. Literature review evaluates the quality and the relevance of the literature. How else will you be able to build on or reject it? And very importantly, literature review establishes the gaps or inadequacies. Whatever has not been studied, you can find out. What are the lucanae? What are the flaws in the existing methodologies? That means it will justify your own contribution. Only after conducting a fruitful analysis of the work carried out so far, the students are able to, the scholars are able to justify their research question and also demonstrates your scholarly rigor. That is, how else can I have faith in your conclusions? That means a reader or an examiner of your thesis can understand the scholarly rigor of the researcher in establishing, in placing their arguments in the light of the existing arguments. Can you follow? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you clear about all these concepts? Hope so. So these are the reasons why we go for literature review. So literature review is not what I should say early, that it is not a simple chapter and providing a cushion for increasing the page length of the thesis. Normally, some students are doing like that. I don't say no. Some students are considering that review of literature, the more the review of literature, the more will be the size of the thesis. It is not so. Literature survey should be based on your research question. If you are adding unnecessary, unrelated reviews in the literature survey chapter, no best examiner will give you a good comment. So remember that point. So a literature review is a critical analysis of existing research in your field. It highlights both the strengths and weaknesses of the existing studies. It allows you to gain a critical understanding of your field of interest. It gives you an opportunity to think about what has been done in your field. It gives you an opportunity to think about similarities, patterns, trends, and also differences across the existing research. By identifying the strengths and weaknesses, you will be able to think about what has not or what needs to be done in your field. The gap in the literature is your justification for your study. So after reviewing the literature, you should come forth with what were the areas or what are the areas which were still not covered, still not researched by the peer researchers or the previous researchers. So you can establish a cause for or a case for what I should say a new research, whether it is a PhD project or it is a funded research project, or if you are writing a research article, you must clearly specify that these are the reasons why this study is proceeded with. So literature review is a very, very important aspect of our research exercise. Okay. So while conducting a literature review, how will it help the research scholar? The points are like this. The literature survey determines if the proposed research is actually needed. Whether your research topic is relevant or whether it is really needed, one can see only when you refer, you document, you write those works in the concerned area of your interest. Why? Because otherwise it will lead to repetitive research. What is repetitive research? So many students are doing same topic in different, only difference is that one student is registered with Calicut University, another one is in Kerala University, another one is in Gandhiji University, another one is in Central University of South Bihar. The same topic. What these 4 students can contribute to the growth of the knowledge? Really speaking, not much. This is known as repetitive research. So this repetition in research should be avoided as far as possible. So for that, an exhaustive hunt of the existing literature is required. So the literature review determine if your proposed research is actually needed. That is simply the justification for your research work. You can enforce, you can convince your supervisor, your research advisory committee that, sir, this research question has not been addressed by any of the previous researchers. That is the reason why I am interested in this. That is the justification for your study. But sometimes, even if similar research are published, researchers might suggest a need for similar studies or replication. This may happen. For example, a study has been conducted in a particular location, but the same study can be conducted in another location. There is no problem at all. So this is one justification. Okay, this question was addressed by some of the scholars in the tropical region. Argument is like that. So we want to conduct a similar study in the non-tropical region. This is one justification or argument for replicating. That means repeating a similar study in another location. This is possible after conducting the proper review of literature. Second one is review of literature will help us to narrow down a problem. It can be overwhelming getting into the literature of a field of study. A literature review can help you understand where you need to focus your efforts. So a research is not a broad attention to a broad issue. We have to narrow down the research problem. So you can narrow down or zero down to the manageable research proposition only when you understand whatever has been done so far. And in addition to that, review of literature help us to generate hypotheses or research questions for further studies. That means your research question or your hypothesis is emerging from the findings of the existing literature. And again, I will continue. What are the other benefits? Conducting a literature review will give you, the scholars, a background knowledge of the field of your interest. The facts. Who are the eminent scholars who have conducted study in your area? What are the parameters they have used in the field inquiry? What are their most important ideas? What are the theories? What are the questions? And what are the hypotheses framed and tested by them? You can get an idea of all these aspects only through a thorough review of the review of literature. Again, review will give you the knowledge of the methodologies common to the field and a feeling for their usefulness and appropriateness in various settings. This is also very important. It is also very important in the sense that we are all using methodology. There is a subheading of materials and methods in the first chapter, where you are pointing out, okay, this is the research design, this is the study design, where you are using cross-section study design or before and after study design, or you may be using some other thing, etc. 1 minute, 1 minute, please. Hello. പറയൂ. പറയാം. Okay. Thank you. Okay, coming back to the issue that we are using a lot of methodologies in our study, and the students and research supervisors are also confused about the methodological correctness of a research. And how will you defend, suppose in the during the period of your open defense, this methodology is correct or not? You can defend it only when you are familiar with the methodologies adopted by your peer scholars in the similar field of study. So, dear friends, review of literature will give you a lot of things. Don't consider it as a futile, meaningless exercise. It is a fruitful exercise. It is a rewarding exercise as well, because this will give you more idea about the subject base, the arguments in your field, the people who have contributed to the subject area you will be familiar with. Right? While I had an experience, while I was the chairman of a PhD adjudication board in one of the universities in Kerala, the candidate was presenting this thesis, and I asked her whether you have referred this particular book or author. Actually, she was not aware of that. Actually, that book was the seminal or classic book in the study of her analysis. Actually, that thesis should have been rejected on that ground itself, because the student has failed to review one of the classic work in the study of the concept which the candidate was looking at. So this happens mainly because we are taking review of literature as a routine. It is a lazy effort most often we are doing. That point I want to clear with you. So remember the point that literature review is more than just a chapter. This point I underline again and again. It is not a chapter alone. It is not a chapter of watershed compartment. It should be aligned with, it should be integrated with, it should be incorporated with the whole thread of the thesis, the whole content and component of the thesis. So a literature review is a process as well as an outcome. How it is an outcome? It appears in the final draft of your thesis as part of your introduction or as a chapter. Normally, there are two variants of presentation of review of literature. Some of the students are including review of literature in the first chapter itself. That is the introductory chapter. But in some universities, there is a clear direction that review of literature should be a separate chapter. So in either way you can. So it is an outcome. And it is a process as well. What is the process of literature review? It is a critical engagement. That means critical thinking, reading, and writing with relevant research on your topic. And it is a crucial and formative stage of your thesis journey. So remember that it is not just a chapter. Keep in mind, underline in your mind. Review of literature is not simply a chapter alone. It is a process as well as an outcome. And normally your supervisors and during this type of workshop, we repeat that critical review of literature is necessary. But dear friends, I'm very sorry to state that most of the review of literature is only a paraphrasing or a description of an article or a book or a report. 95% of the students and scholars don't have any critical comment in the review of literature. They are simply writing that this article speaks about this, these are the objective, these are the methodology, these are the findings. That is the end of that. So do we get anything out of this? This type of description? No. So that is why we always say that literature review should be critical in nature. What do we mean by critical? How do we critically evaluate a literature or an article or a book? Remember these points. First, you have to look at what were the research aim of the paper or book. Actually, this article looks at what? Or what is the objective of this particular book? Then analyze whether this paper or a book has achieved their research aim. If so, how did they do it? Are there any problems with their methodology? You can check. Was it a strong or a weak research model? How will this research help with your own research? What can you take from it? What needs to be avoided? What are you doing differently? This is the part of the critical estimation of a literature. So while drawing and writing and referring the literature, you must be clear about these critical comments. That will help you a lot in building your arguments later on. So after or continuing your literature review, what should you think about? What should you note it down? You cannot go to a library just like reading a novel or a story and come out of your library or department or from the supervisor's desk or room. Actually, the research scholar should have a pen and a notebook always with her. We should be ever ready to receive information, receive comments. So while reading a literature, an article, you must know exactly who are the main authors in my field. Who are the critical or who are the seminal scholars in the field of my inquiry. This could be anything from academics, medics, governing bodies, schools of thought, etc. So the sources of your interesting area. What are the main ideas and debates in my field? How have these ideas changed over time? What are some of the problems with these ideas and debates? Is there a problem with the methodology? And how do you go differently? How do you make up their faults or their flaws? That is your justification. So the research scholar has to critically examine, review, analyze, and propose a new study. So this part is very, very important. The research scholar should be thorough about the major writers, the major contributors, the major theories, the major debates, the major findings in their respective areas. And look at them critically so that you should find a gap for further research. A gap for further research. I told you already, by reading the literature, you will understand the major authors or the players and sources. So the first stage of the literature review is to identify the key people in your field of inquiry and collate all relevant sources about your topic. So you ask yourself some questions. What are the questions you should ask while reviewing the literature? What research and theory is there on my topic? What research and theory is there on my topic? What are the key sources, that is books, journals, available on my topic? Who are the main theorists, researchers in this area? How has the topic or the research problem been investigated over time? You will find answer to almost all these questions while reading a set of literature in your preferred area of interest. Are you clear up to this level? Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
So we can move this like in this speed, right? Okay, you are traveling with me, no problem, right? Okay. So far we have discussed about the need for literature review, how it can be helpful to the research and etc. So next we will discuss how we go about. How do we go about? That means what are the steps for writing a literature review? What are the steps for writing a literature review? Can you write the literature review in a simple fashion? Normally not possible. So what we have to do is we have to follow certain guidelines while preparing for the research review of literature. So I will tell you a few steps that you can adopt. There are 5 steps that you can use or you can adopt while reviewing the literature. One is there should be planning. The students and the scholars should have a planning for research review. Then second step is reading and research. Third one is analyzing the review. Then drafting your review of literature. And finally, revising your review of literature. So this is a very, very challenging task for a research group or a research team and a researcher also. First, we discuss about planning for review of literature. One is focus. So before moving to the literature review, the researcher should have a focus. So this is a precondition for research review. Normally, 80-90% of the research scholars move with this way. They have a research question in mind. They have a research hypothesis maybe in their mind. So they go with this idea and review the literature. So that is why I should say that there should be focus. So there should be focus in the sense that the researcher should go with a focused review of literature, provided the researcher has a topic of interest. 90% of the students, I should say, have some idea about their interest. But there are maybe 10 or maybe less than 10% students. They don't have any research topic in their mind. Luckily, they have got a junior research fellowship. They have written the UGC examination and they have got selected. Monthly UGC is giving 30,000, later on it will be 35,000, 40,000, etc. So understanding this monetary benefit, maybe there are 10% of the students, scholars, they also enroll for, plan to enroll for research without a topic. They have not identified any research problem and all that. So in their case, how do we go about the research review? That is also a question. Maybe it is a minority, researchers who are coming with this particular group. So in such cases, what my suggestion is that during your PG program, such candidates may have studied a few optional subjects or electives. And from those electives or optional subjects, those students can choose among those and read those selected broad area. And after reading, most often such students will end up with some narrow area of interest. So in that way also we can go for research review. But normally what happens is that normally students come with some interest during the PhD interview, admission interview, or during the selection process. So for planning the research review of literature, scholars should have a focus. What is the focus? What is the specific thesis or the problem or research question that my literature review helps to define? Identifying a focus that allows you to sort and categorize information and also eliminate irrelevant information. This is very, very important, because nowadays we are all basing our research on the search engine based research. Whenever you want to speak in a body, or whenever you want to write an article, whenever you want to submit a research proposal, we all go to the Google site normally, or Internet Explorer. But mostly we are all looking at Google search engine. Type some keywords and get hold of whatever is published in that area. And once you put it and enter the enter key, the Google will open before you thousands of pages, an ocean of knowledge, which you will find it very difficult to concentrate. So that is why we should say that before going for or starting for a literature review, the research scholar should have a focus. So this is one important aspect of the planning stage. Secondly, what is your type of study? That is, what type of literature review am I conducting? Similarly, theory, it includes type. Theory, are we interested in theoretical studies? Are you interested in the methodology reformation? Are we interested in providing policy studies? Are we interested in quantitative or qualitative studies? So before going to the literature review, researchers should be clear about this also. Third one is scope. What is the scope of my literature review? Scope means what type of sources am I using? That means, should I look at journals only? Should I look at books only? Or should I look at some other sources like monograph or online sources? So your scope of research should be defined. And academic discipline. Is my research is purely a monodiscipline or an interdisciplinary, or is it a multidisciplinary topic? So these are the few questions that one should be clear during the planning stage of the review of literature. Then after planning, second stage is reading and researching. After you are planning, go to the library or an internet space, collect and read the material. And after reading, summarize the following points. Who is the author? What is the purpose of this paper? What is the theoretical perspective of the paper? What is the research methodology adopted? To whom it is intended? Is it a pure academic study, or it is for policymakers, or it is for any other body? What are the principal points? What is the conclusion? What is the thesis brought about? What is the contention or question? How is the author's position supported? How does this study relate to other studies of the problem or topic? What does this study add to your project? How will this particular review help you to define your research project? And remember, select only relevant books and articles. So I told you already, while entering into the ocean of Google, you will find both relevant and irrelevant citations, bibliographic information, database and all that. But remember, select only those resources which are relevant. Are you clear? Then after reading, the next stage is analyzing the sources. A literature review is never just a list of studies. It always offers an argument about a body of research. So we have to analyze each article which you read, keeping in mind this point. That is, what is the point? Each literature offers an argument about a body of research. So during this analysis, one has to perform 4 analysis tasks, knowingly or unknowingly. What are the 4 tasks which one has to address or carry out? One is summarize the study. Second is synthesize. Third one is critique. Fourth one is compare. So these are the 4 analysis task of the literature review. Summarize, synthesize, critique and compare. We will come to each of these points now. First, we combine summary and synthesis. What do we mean by that? What you should do after reading a literature? You can do this. In your own words, summarize and synthesize the key findings relevant to your study. Second point you have to note down is, what do we know about the immediate area of study? What are the key arguments, characteristics, concepts, or key figures? What are the existing debates or theories? What common methodologies are used? You have to synthesize in the summary of each of the relevant literature you surveyed. It should have all these details. The theory which adopted, the methodology which this report has used, what are the main arguments, what are the characteristics, the concepts which have been introduced, etc. This is one. Second is, sometimes your review of literature should also have a comparison and critique. How to do that? One has to evaluate the strength and weaknesses of the work. Every research paper, every research thesis has its own merits and demerits. One has to evaluate that. How do different studies relate, compare? What is new? What is different? Or what is controversial? What views need further testing? What evidence is lacking? What evidence is inconclusive, contradicting, or too limited? What research designs or methods seem unsatisfactory? So that this is a critical estimation of the existing work you referred. You can critique the methodology. You can critique or criticize the research design. You can criticize the evidences, lack of evidence. Sometimes conclusion may be inconclusive. There may be too limited. Arguments in establishing the fact, etc. So we have to be very clear about that also. So after having understood, you have to analyze your study, your literature, putting it all together. Once you have summarized, synthesized, compared, and critiqued your chosen material, you may consider whether these studies demonstrate the topic's chronological development, show different approaches to the problem, whether it shows an ongoing debate, whether the study is based on a seminal study or studies, whether the study demonstrates a paradigm shift. What do researchers know about this field? What do researchers not know about this field? Why should we further study this topic? What will my study contribute? So this can be achieved only when you analyze it. So analysis is the last stage of the process of the literature survey. Are you clear up to this? Are you okay? Hello?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Then, after having done all these exercises, we will go for drafting the review. Drafting the review, how it can be done. To help you approach your draft in a manageable fashion, this section addresses the following topics. One is The chapter on research literature review should start with a thesis statement. It should have an organization pattern. It should have an introduction and conclusion. And you should have a proper citation in the review chapter. I shall repeat. Your thesis, there is a chapter on research literature review. That should start. Why I should say this, most of the theses which I received, especially from our nearby states, they start the review of literature chapter like this. They define what is review, as I said in the first slide. What is review? What is its importance? How it is helpful to the research? They are going on speaking, writing maybe 5 or 7 pages like this. This is not what is expected. We have to start with your thesis statement. What your thesis is expected to examine. And for that, how do you organize your literature survey? It should have an introduction and a conclusion. And you should follow specific citation in text, especially in text citation also. So first is thesis statements. The thesis statement offers an argument about the literature. That is, you are placing this chapter in the PhD thesis or a PG dissertation based on this argument. That is the thesis argument. It may do any or a combination of the following. Offer an argument and critical assessment of the literature, provide an overview of current scholarly conversations, point out gaps or weaknesses in the literature, relate the literature to the larger aim of the study. So you can follow any or a combination of these 3 or 4 aspects in the first paragraph of the review of literature. For example, how do we write a thesis statement? I have given a few examples here. We start like this. In spite of these difficulties, we believe that pre-service elementary art teachers and classroom teachers need some knowledge of stage theories of children's development. You start with this sentence and then goes on to review theories of development. So if your literature survey mainly focus on the theories of child's development, you can follow this thesis statement and follow that. Another example is given like this. Research on the meaning and experience of home has proliferated over the past 2 decades, particularly within the disciplines of sociology, anthropology, psychology, human geography, history, architecture, and philosophy. Many researchers now understand home as a multi-dimensional concept and acknowledge the presence of and need for multidisciplinary research in the field. However, with the exception of 2 exemplary articles by Despres and Somerville, few have translated this awareness into genuinely interdisciplinary studies of the meaning of home. So you can start an example only I am telling, then you can start the research which is already gone through, already conducted in the field of this particular aspect. Or one more example I have given, you can start like this. In this chapter, we review and critique scholarship on place-based education in order to consider the ingredients of a critical place-based pedagogy for the arts and humanities. We begin by reviewing eco-humanism's call for a more locally responsive education in light of the marginalization of place and community. These 3 examples tell you how you can begin a chapter on review of literature. Rather than I told you, rather than defining what is review of literature, what are the importance, what are the characteristics, most of the theses, I should say that some states I don't mention, they are doing like this. But we want a clear thesis statement in the beginning paragraph itself. So this is one point. Second is how to organize a review of literature. There are different ideas. Why I should mention this is that in most of the PhD theses which I evaluate, I see that most of them are lacking any organization. They are simply writing, taking an article, writing a paragraph, taking another book, writing another paragraph without any connection or any relation with whatever they are studying, whatever the other studies have looked at, simply going on writing without any critical comment. But actually, that is not expected. A good PhD thesis of the standard universities require any of these type of or a mixture of these organization principles. One is the review of literature can be organized in different approaches, like on the basis of your topical interest or importance, or distant to close. Debate criteria can be used, or chronological criteria can be used, or seminal study type of analysis can be used. We will discuss all these things. One is topical. If you are following a topical categorization, what are the characteristics? You can start with most common approach in the analysis of your interested topic. Breaks the field into a number of subfields, subject area, or approaches. Discusses each subsection individually, sometimes with the critics of each. Most useful for organizing a large body of literature that does not have one or two studies that stand out as most important or a clear chronological development. These are the points of the characteristics of the topical way of organizing your review. So in such a case, how do we write? What should be the language of your research review? For example, you can see 3 important areas of this field have received attention. We start like 3 important areas of my research have received attention in the literature, say A, B, C. Then you write A has been approached from 2 perspectives, F and G. The most important developments in terms of B have been like this. Then you go on discussing C has also been an important area of study in this field. Here we place the review on a topical way. So this is one point. Second is categorization or organization is distant to close. What are the characteristics of such an organization? A type of topical organization with studies grouped by their relevance to current research. Starts by describing studies with general similarities to current research and ends with studies most relevant to the specific topic. So general similarities to most relevant. That means that is distant to close. Our relation is distant relation to close relation are mentioned. Especially this distant to close characteristics methodology can be followed in studies which are interested in methods or models. If your study is interested in developing a model, new model or new method, this type of presentation of the review of literature is possible. In typical language, how do we write a distant to close review of literature? Here, method or model M addresses, you can start like this. That is general. Drawing upon method model N can help This study applies the procedure using method model O. So in that way, you slowly bring to your area of interest. That is, what is the method M has taken up? What are the methods N has included? And now what you are going to incorporate. So in that way, distant to close characteristics, or you can add new characteristics, then that may be an addition to the existing knowledge. So this is another type of organization of the review of literature. Then sometimes if you read some of the good articles appear in the peer-reviewed journals published by Gestar or Elsevier Group or Scopus indexed journals, you can see that most of them are debate-based articles can be seen. So another type of topical approach with a chronological component, that is emphasizes various strands of research in which proponents of various models openly criticize one another. Most useful when clear opposing positions are present in the literature. So I encourage all of you to read such peer-reviewed journals so that you can understand how these type of different debate is being written and enrich upon their argument. So the debate may be another one. And another one normally we do is chronological. Chronology means on the basis of time period. Here we list the studies in terms of chronological development. Useful when the field displays clear development over a period of time. For example, it is a linear progression of the development, or there may be a paradigm shift in the area of interest, etc. For example, in the common language, we can say this subject was first studied by X, who argued and found these things. Later on, in another year after that, Y modified or extended, contradicted X work by this much. And we come to the current stage today. Research by Z represents the current state of the field. In this way, you can chronologically, on the basis of the progression in the development of this particular idea, you can present. Then another one is seminal study. Seminal study means very important classic work. Seminal study begins with a detailed description of extremely important study. Later work is organized using another pattern. Most useful when one study is clearly most important or central in laying the groundwork for future research. In typical language, seminal study may be like this. The most important research on this topic was the study by X in which year. Following X study, research fell into two camps, extended X work to the deviance, the diversions. So in that way, seminal study based, that means a study, basis of that study, you can see development. For example, in the economics of development, you are all commerce students, you know that there is growth theories. So we have the theories of growth by Hanover model. Then as a critique of that, we have the endogenous model, we have the exogenous model. So many models have come. So this is some on the basis of some of the seminal study that new theories are being brought in. So this is what is known as the seminal study. So finally, one has to conclude the review of literature like this, summarize the main findings of your review. It should have a closure, and you have to explain so what, implication for future research, and connections to the current study. So I will show you one example how you can conclude a research review of literature. Last paragraph, how it should be like this. It can be like this. In summary, although there is some suggestive evidence that chimpanzees may understand others' intentions, there are also negative findings. You can write the major writers. and a host of alternative explanations. As a consequence, currently it is not clear whether chimpanzees or other non-human primates distinguish between intentional and accidental actions performed by others. In contrast, there are several studies indicating that children as young as 14 months of age have some understanding of others' intentions, but the lack of comparative studies make it difficult to know how children compare to apes. This study is the first to directly compare children, chimpanzees, and orangutans with the use of a non-verbal task in which the subjects were to discriminate between the experimenter's intentional and accidental actions. So this is simply an example. So how your conclusion justify the need for your study. That is the last sentence. You can see very easily. This study is the first to directly compare children, chimpanzees, and orangutans. That is 3 categories of variables are taken into account. So considering your area of interest, you have to conclude your review of literature like this and provide a justification. Actually, this is the research gap he identified. And this research gap is the basis of your research. Okay. Then another point that you should remember is that in the case of the review of literature, you must use citations. I think there is a class on citation. I don't want to go in detail about that. We will go for the citation also. In text citation especially. In text citation, you can see that there are 2 main ways. One is we may be writing the name of the author in the sentence itself. For example, according to Amartya Sen, we will write 1998 something. Or you will write in an article an author has studied and brought out the following ideas. Then finally, in the end of the sentence, you may write Amartya Sen 1996. So in-text citation can be of different types. So I think this methodology workshop will talk to you about that also. So in this case, you can see that how a citation can be useful. I'm not going to that. Then after writing your literature review, you have to ask yourself whether any revision is required. Revision, revising. How can I fine-tune my draft? This is also very important. Here, how to revise your draft review. Very important. One is title. Is my title consistent with the content of my paper? That means your thesis or your article should be consistent with the content. What you are looking at and what you are given at the title should be well conveying. So that is why we say that, normally we say that looking at the title, one can understand the objective and also the methodology to a major extent the researcher is going to adopt. Now it is gone. Anyhow, during the period of my generation, the title will tell us the content, the supposed content, and also the methodology the candidate is going to adopt. So if the title is not consistent, we have to revise the title. Introduction. Do I appropriately introduce my review? Ask yourself. Thesis. Does my review have a clear claim? But actually you wanted to bring out after the review of literature. Body. Is the organization of the review clear? Have I provided proper headings? Topic sentences. Have I clearly indicated the major idea of each paragraph? Transitions. does my writing flow? Conclusion, do I provide sufficient closure? Finally, spelling and grammar. Are there any major spelling or grammatical mistakes? Very sorry to state the last one. Recently, I have evaluated one thesis of the universities of Kerala, where from the first sentence to the last final chapter, in each and every page, I should say that spelling mistakes. Remember, our PhD thesis nowadays are stored in the Inflipped's website. So whatever error, whatever mistake which you commit, we cannot correct it later. People all over the world can see your thesis, your article because of this online transmission. So please remember that while submitting the thesis, make corrections using even software are also available. Grammarly software is there for checking the correction, especially grammar mistakes, and so many other software are available to lead you to better standard submission of thesis and all that. So you have to ask yourself, you have to confirm yourself that is there any revision of the review is necessary. So in summary, I should say that as you read, try to see the big picture. Your literature review should provide an overview of the state of research. It should include only those source material that help you shape your argument. Resist the temptation to include everything you have read, which is also very important. This is also a bad practice among the research scholars. Oh, I have read so many things. Where I shall put this matter? This is the question some of the students are asking. So you are putting whatever information you have in your thesis. So it is just like saying that adage, garbage in, garbage out. You are putting so much garbage in, so your thesis will be just like a garbage. So don't put unnecessary or unrelated ideas in your review of literature chapter. So it is not the number of review that matters, but the quality or the seminal work, the standard journals which you refer, these are all very important. And you have to balance summary and analysis, and keep in mind your purpose for writing. How will this review benefit readers? Actually, don't think that nobody will read your review of literature chapter. Actually, reading the review of literature is also a very rewarding exercise. So it will lead us to what I should say, a new height of knowledge while reading a good literature review chapter. And also this review chapter will also provide you a rationale for analyzing how this review contribute to my study. And also finally we have to look at the citations, be very meticulous. And this picture will show you literature review is an evolving one. Not something you do now and forget about. Your field is constantly evolving and changing. You can see that. So my submission is that there are some students normally ask the question, when should I stop reviewing literature? This is another question which normally students ask. Dear brothers and sisters, what I should tell you is there is no full stop to review of literature. You can add any review of literature up till you bind your thesis. So you must add whatever is current knowledge in the field, if it is suitable and aligned with your topic. So remember, research literature review is an evolving one. Remember that a literature review is not an annotated bibliography. It is not simply paraphrasing what others have said. It is not a list of seemingly unrelated sources. It is not a literary survey containing authors' biodata, list of works, summaries of sources. It is not the background information or explanation of concepts. It is not an argument for the importance of your research, although the literature review can and often does support your position. So these are the points that one should understand. Then and finally, I should say that be prepared for a writing process. Do not attempt to write a literature review overnight. This process takes weeks and months. Yes, months. This is one point that I want to underline again and again. And finally, my last suggestion is that you can't cite from mere abstracts in your paper. You must read and cite the entire article. Why I should say this is that because of this internet and all that, what the students are normally doing, even my students are doing, I should say, they are copying the abstract, copy the abstract from the online center and putting the same thing in your thesis literature survey chapter without reading the whole article or a book. So you can remember that the abstract is only a minimum number of words, maybe 3,000 words or 200, not 3,000, 300 words or 250 words. The journal as a template. So the author or the writer has to provide the introduction, methodology, main hypothesis, objectives, and conclusion within 300 words or 350 words. So it is only a gist, or only what should I say, very minimum point of the thesis or the article or the report. So normally what the students are doing is they simply copy this abstract from the website or articles page and put in the review of literature chapter and claiming that I have read the entire article. So dear friends, I tell you, don't go for this practice. Take time, read the entire article, assimilate, understand, and act upon the deficiencies, the leukemia, the limitations posed by the existing studies. That should be your exact, what I should say, that should be your argument, or that should be the justification for your study. So there are so many reading materials available for getting idea about the review of literature. No problem. You can have this from Mr. Rajiv Thomas. Don't worry. So with this, I would like to stop my lecture, and if you have any interaction, I think we will discuss now.
Okay. Thank you, sir, from the bottom of our heart for your valuable words and time. Your talk on review of literature broadens the knowledge of everyone in this session who wish to do research. All thanks to your enlightening words. Once again, thank you, sir. Now, it is the time for interaction. If any participants have any doubts or queries, you can either mute your microphone and ask, or you can post in the chat box.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Am I audible?
Yes, Danya, you are
Sir, one
audible,
of your
please.
slide says that what is a literature review or for? In that slide, the last point establishes gaps or inadequacies. Sir, can you explain this point again?
Yes, Tanya, actually, why do we conduct the research review? It is simply to understand what have been done so far, what can be done from now. What has been done so far? Maybe it is a theoretical model, but it can be a model building, or it can be an evidence-based replication of the study in other area. Anyway, so it is simply the finding of the or the justification for your study, right? Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello. Krishna
Hello.
sir, thank you for your. Vinny ചോദിച്ചോളൂ.
Sir, I think there's a technical issue.
Vinny. Okay. Krishna sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
One simple doubt.
Okay.
Whether the plagiarism check adopted by the UGC, what is the impact of plagiarism checking and the review of literature? As already you have explained, the scholars are copying the material from the e-sources and they are writing it as same in the article. They are not rephrasing or they are not taking the content. So basically, this orientation is very essential. Otherwise, they cannot survive the plagiarism test adopted by the university. What is your advice regarding this?
It's a correct question, Rajiv sir. Normally, the universities all over the world are very much worried about the plagiarism issue. So, the research scholars have to submit plagiarism report along with their thesis during the time of submission. So, there is a limit of direct quoting of one's words in the thesis or in the review or wherever it is. But it should be credited. Those who have contributed this idea should be given due credit by the scholars. But sometimes, as you said, the scholars are writing the points as if it is written by the scholars themselves. So it is a criminal offense in most of the foreign countries. So the student should know how to paraphrase, how to rewrite the content of an article without showing it as a plagiarism. That is very important. So it is an art of rewriting the ideas by giving proper citation and credit to the original author. That is a skill. That is a research skill that we need more training. I think colleges like you have to give much thrust on research skills on how to avoid plagiarism. And I should also add that nowadays librarians are more powerful researchers. They have all access to plagiarism software. They are all very much the custodian of the online resources. So I think, sir, you can ask the librarian of University of Calicut to provide an effective class on plagiarism to the student body. So anyhow, there is no matter that there is no compromise on plagiarism that we should avoid. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, another doubt.
Hello, sir. Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, please.
Sir, what is the theme-based literature review and how can we conduct theme-based literature review?
Theme-based. Okay. That is another type of organizing the literature review. Theme means a concept. Theme means a concept or an idea. So an idea-based or an argument. A theme may be either an argument or it can be a concept or it can be a idea. So you can arrange your review on the basis of the what should I say, development of the idea, development of the concept, development of the theme. But this is not possible in all the studies. The organization depends on your area of study. This is one sort of organizing the review of literature.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir, another doubt.
Yes.
Sir, how do we write a review article and how it is different from a research article?
A review article is what should I say, that review article is mainly based on a particular research report or a book, right? Review article. Research article means it is an article based on your research. If somebody is writing your research about your research, it can be a, for example, we have book reviews, we have review articles, but normally these are done by accredited persons. Accredited person means highly qualified professionals process, right?
Yeah, okay, sir.
Both are basically research articles. There is no doubt.
Okay, sir, thank you.
And also, I request all of you to go. So many journals are there. More than 3,000 journals, online journals are there now at present. The database shows that. But go for peer-reviewed journals. Peer-reviewed journals, because now publishing and publishing the journal becomes a business in countries like India. So what they are doing is they are advertising for publication, and they will say that within 3 days, within even 1 day, your article gets published. And because of this university rule that while submitting the PhD, you should have 2 articles in your credit, most of the research scholars are becoming prey to these vicious traps. So they are publishing in journals which are not at all peer reviewed, and those articles do not have any quality. Also, you can imagine that today you are submitting and tomorrow your article is getting published. So that is why I tell you that go for peer reviewed journals, and also database like Scopus Index journals or care listed journals. In Indian case, it is UGC care list journals are the best standard journals. We expect that good articles are coming. Elsevier or Gestor or even other Scopus Index based journals are also mostly most often 100% they are peer reviewed journals. Very difficult to get an article published in such journals. It goes through different peer review process. Double blind, single blind, so many terminologies you can see that. Double blind reviewing. Double blind means that 2 persons will review the article, and the person who reviewed the article does not know the author and the affiliation of the author. Simply reviewing. There are peer reviewed where the journal send all the name, address, and everything to the reviewer, and accordingly give suggestions. So look at the journals which have the review process is very important. Okay. Anything else to contribute? You can also contribute, no problem. I am not the last word on this review of literature. Hello.
Anyone else?
Sir, I have a question. How can we start review literature? First of we start with book or journal?
Book or journal, yes. That is what I told you, that there are 2 ways. If you have a research question in mind, if you have a research problem in mind, you can go for, I should say that you can go for article, because articles are most often current trends. A book, it will get published only after submitting to the publisher 2 years, 3 years later only. So there is a gap between submission of the manuscript and publication of the manuscript in the case of books. But in the case of journals, submission and publication takes lesser time, because there may be weekly journals, for example, Economic and Political Weekly. That journal publishes every week. Whereas there are some articles which are published monthly, some are quarterly, some are in half year, or you can call it biannual. Some of the journals are annual only. So that all depends on your area of interest. Search for both books and journals.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Shahana, anybody, any questions?
Anyone
Maybe all
else?
of you are hungry now by...
Okay. I hope there is no more doubts or queries. It's almost time for us to wind up the session. So let's invite Mrs. Sajitra OP, Assistant Professor in Commerce, Government Arts and Science College, Mangala, and she's also a research scholar in Mathoma College, Sugatra, for delivering vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Respected Principal, Dr. Rajiv Thomas sir, and most distinguished resource person of the day, Professor C. Krishnan sir, and other honorable dignitaries and dear participants. I deem it a great honor to propose a vote of thanks for all who have helped to make this session of today's FTP such a resounding and enriching one. First of all, I would like to propose hearty vote of thanks to our resource person, Professor C. Krishnan sir, for gracing this occasion. And literature review is a very important part of a research process, and Professor C. Krishnan sir already explained how to identify and how to do a literature review for a research problem, and he covered almost all the minute and important aspects of literature review, like what is a literature review and different steps for literature review, thesis statements, organization, revising the review, conclusion, citations, etc. All from the very basic but in a simple and systematic way. Over the past 2 hours, we have all spent here together a wonderful time which has been so enriching. So I extend our sincere gratitude to Professor C. Krishnan sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And
thank you, Sajitra.
I would like to propose a vote of thanks to our beloved principal, Dr. Rajiv Thomas sir, for all words of wisdom that always radiated a source of energy for us. I extend my sincere thanks to Rajiv Thomas sir for being with us today. And also I would like to thank the management of Mathoma College, Shungatra, and the PG and Research Department of Mathoma College, Shungatra, for organizing such a fruitful faculty development program. And I extend special thanks to all the participants for the active participation. Once again, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you all participants and Principal Dr. Rajiv Thomas.
സാറേ ഇത്രയും ശാരീരിക ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട് നിങ്ങളുടെ സംസാരം ഒച്ചയ്ക്ക് നല്ല ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ട് അല്ലേ? ഇറിറ്റേഷൻ ഉണ്ട്.
ഈ കോവിഡ് ആണ് ചങ്ങാതി.
അങ്ങനെ പറയല്ലേ, നമ്മൾ പ്രൈമറി കോണ്ടാക്ട് ആവും.
അതെ, പ്രൈമറി കോണ്ടാക്ട് ആവും.
അപ്പോ പ്രശ്നമായോ?
അല്ല, പ്രശ്നമൊന്നുമില്ല സാർ, ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് കണ്ടിന്യൂയിങ്. ഞാനിപ്പം ഇന്നത്തെ അവസ്ഥ എന്താ, ഇന്നലെ നിങ്ങൾ വിളിച്ചപ്പോ ഒന്ന് എടുക്കായിരുന്നു, അതുകൊണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
ഹോസ്പിറ്റലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ നിങ്ങളുടെ ക്യാമ്പസില്?
അതൊക്കെ ആകുന്നുണ്ട്, ഹോസ്പിറ്റലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. ഡോക്ടർക്കും കോവിഡാ.
ശരി, അപ്പൊ കുഴപ്പമില്ല.
നമുക്ക് ഒരു ഡോക്ടറേ ഉള്ളൂ, ഈ കോവിഡ്.
അപ്പം സാറേ താങ്ക് യു, വളരെ സന്തോഷം. ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി ഇങ്ങനെ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ കാണാൻ പറ്റിയല്ലോ. ഓക്കെ,
നന്നായി. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു സാർ.
ശരി സാർ.
ഓക്കെ, ഐ എം ലീവിംഗ്. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു. ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു ഓൾ.
Okay, let's wrap up this session by reminding you the afternoon session on the topic Solving the Rubik's Cube, Research Methodology by Dr. Johnny Johnson, Professor School of Management and Business Studies, MG University, Kottayam. I once again thank you all. Thank you.
രാജീവ് സാറേ,
പറഞ്ഞോ.
അവിടെ BR യൂണിവേഴ്സിറ്റി 2 കുട്ടികളൊന്ന് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവരോട് വേണം രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്യണേ പറയാം.
സാർ എന്നാ പറഞ്ഞേക്കെ.
Arup is there. Arup.
Yes, sir.
You can join. You can register with this FDP from today onwards. This workshop will extend for three more days, right?
Okay.
Yes,
up
sir.
to Monday. Up to Monday.
So you ask Sanjay and Joida also to join. I will send you that brochure.
Okay. Today afternoon, you can also join.
Afternoon also, the same link, sir. Same link.
Yeah, same link.
You can join with the same link. Okay.
They have to join the Google Classroom also.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All the best.
Okay, Shanda. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay.